Hello and welcome to part 3. Okay, I started on the 10th of February on this. It's now, I think, the 19th? No, 18th. It's not going to be finished this week. I mean, why do it? Well, I'm going to show you some more artwork, but one of the reasons that I do this is it's honouring memories of people that I like. I draw people that I like, and at the moment it's a bit frustrating because while I will always play music while I'm drawing, I can't play the music on these videos, which would really help if I could, because let's face it, this is Phil Lynott. I should be playing Thin Lizzy. And what I'm doing is, well, I'm trying to create a book based around music portraits, but I've got to add to that music portrait collection because it's the shortest collection of portraits that I've drawn. Phil Lynott's in there because I grew up with Thin Lizzy. I was 4 when Boys Are Back in Town came out with the Jailbreak album. And I've also got to draw Little Richards and Chuck Berry. And there's a bit of a mission on this. Now, what I can see happening is on here, fiddling around with these bits and this bit and something that looks like a spotted hanky around his neck. That's where it's going to slow down. That's where I've got the problem, because it's taking so long to do it. But doing this with once I've gone past the spotted hanky and past the detail on this side, it should speed up because it's black. Then there's a lot of black. So I don't know, it's done when it's done. But yeah, it's drawing people that I like, people that I connect with, and it's gone beyond wanting to just draw the popular. Not that Thin Lizzy isn't popular, but they were popular in the 70s. This is a celebration of 70s music. Now let me show you what I'm doing. Let's move away from the artwork at the moment. That's where I am at the moment. And I'll go on to some more portraits. And just show you this. So this is the purple book. You've already seen the red book and the clear book. This is the purple book, and then there's the blue book here, which I'm still working on. I don't know how full it will be. So this, and I constantly have to show that these things are hand drawn, especially in this world of stupid AI rubbish. Let me just take this out. That's the text that I've written about it. Yeah, this was 17 days. Now the reason I'm save the text is when I'm on social media, when I'm on Facebook really, as a different name, as the name that I picked originally. I researched the person's life as I draw. There was a reason for this. Anyone can draw, do a portrait of Marilyn Monroe, maybe not like this. But I wanted to do Norma Jean, not Marilyn. There's a difference. I've drawn Marilyn, but Norma Jean had, she was someone special, and Marilyn was a character that she developed. A lot of people don't know that, but let's show you. This is absolutely real, and you can't get a computer to do that. It's all hand drawn in pencil, and this took 17 days to draw by hand. Now the reason it's still in the book is no one talks to me. Go figure. So let's go through this and I'll show you. So I thought I'd draw Al Leong. If you know 80s movies, you know Al Leong. He's the guy who was, well, Last Action Hero. He's the guy that was killed with the ice cream. He's just a great stunt guy. And then there's Carole Lombard. And yes, I did draw that upside down. There's a thing about lighting on these where you have to draw them in a certain way. And you could turn it the other way, but it looks odd. So I did have to do this upside down. And then we get, yeah. So again, I've started drawing famous people from the past. I'll just show you. This is Jean Harlow, and it took 12 days. I'm thinking about drawing Jean Harlow again. I could certainly do it, but it's trying to get, you know, you do it and people don't take notice. Now I've got a jeweler's loop. I've forgotten it for this video, but the next video I'll bring it up and it'll show you close up beyond this. I mean, you can see that it's pencil, but you'll be able to go in and look at the grain. And then I did Dick Van Dyke, and Dick Van Dyke, well, I couldn't find a photo, so I had to buy one, and when I bought it, it was a Disney Archive photo, and it got his autograph on the back. Now I will be talking about autographs. So again, Universal Monsters. I absolutely love Universal Monsters. And this is Henry Hull from Werewolf of London. And now we get to yeah, Reanimator. I've met Jeffrey Combs. Now, I will say something. I've met quite a few people, but as I said in the last video, meeting people at conventions is a little bit like a, yeah, this was Don't Believe Everything You Hear. I met George Romero, but at a convention. And this is Metropolis. So meeting people at conventions is a little bit like speed dating. You wait in a queue, you see this person, and then you talk to them. I have something to talk about with my artwork, but sometimes I'll draw them to have them signed. And it gives me something to talk about, so I do spend a little bit more time with them, but you're always wary that there's somebody behind you. This took 35 days, and I think I'm still drawing that Christmas tree. This is Trading Places. That was another Christmas one. But there is something about drawing and, well, meeting people. I wish I had met them, but there's something about meeting people that it's different than talking to people in a long conversation. Now, there's, oh, by the way, don't use wax crayon on scanning. It's a nightmare to get it off. So, about meeting people, there has to be a confidence, and regardless of what is said, it's up to me to keep it secret and keep my mouth shut. I will not draw politicians, I will not draw soap stars, I will not draw sport, because I'm not a fan. But I will draw musicians, and I will draw movie stars, and now this is Stanley Unwin. I grew up with Stanley Unwin on TV. He's got a... if you know The Small Faces, there's an album with him on it, but there's also the album Rotating Discos, and it's brilliant. He was a brilliant wordsmith. I've got his autograph, so this is going to be framed eventually. But each one that I've done, the framing is going to cost 200 quid. About. So I've got Stanley Unwin, and I've got Betty Davis's autograph. That needs to be framed, or I need to draw another Betty Davis. I have got Frankie Howard's autograph. Again, another one that's got to be framed. It's not just the wall space, it's affording the framing. And I've also got Tony Curtis and Jack Lemmon. So I did one of my favourite films, Some Like It Hot. That will have to be framed with the autograph. And I've got Gene Kelly's autograph. I go hunting, I know autograph dealers. And I combine my art, well, I can combine my artwork with the autograph, as long as it's authenticated. Now this is part pencil, part wash paint. I did a little bit of a watercolour on it just to change the colour. I've got Benny Hill's autograph. Again, I want that framed. I liked Benny Hill. I grew up with him on TV, and yeah, I need that framed. And then here's the Wicker Man. Again, look, real picture, hand drawn, and I will show you the Jeweler's Loop versions in the next video. Now this is Melvin Kaminsky. Now this took quite some time. I like Mel Brooks. And I was actually born on the day that he was born. Not the year, but we share a birthday. And then Robin Williams again as Hook. That costume was harder than you think, and I could do with making one of those into a Christmas card. Janet Leigh, I've got her autograph. There you are. Again, another framing job. Now, the writing that I've done, I put that on social media and on Facebook. This is The Prisoner. And there's a series of numbers there. And on the picture that I put on, there's a load of other numbers. It's a puzzle. They say something. It's I'm playing with the the one who looks at the picture. Anyway, I put this onto social media, and when I do it, usually takes about an hour after the research to write something, and barely anyone reads it. This is Grace Bradley. And if you don't know Grace Bradley, you may know Hopalong Cassidy. She's the reason Hopalong Cassidy became a name. If you see the lines across here, that's the writing. So that was 5 days it took to create. And then Jacqueline Smith. So what I've been doing is saving my text to put it somewhere else to get away from Facebook. This is the Island of Lost Souls. Charles Laughton. It's a really strong movie even now. And then we get to Carnival of Souls. And this was about 11 days work. I will take this out and show you. There you are, there's the text again. Yeah, 11 days. One of the greatest horror movies you'll ever see. And that is a double exposure, hand drawn. And if you want to get headaches, draw like that. That was one of the hardest drawings I've ever had to do. It made my eyes go bad. The next one, London After Midnight. And Colin Clive, again, Universal Monsters. Because of October, every October I draw horror. Because of the COVID years, I drew Invasion of the Body Snatchers. And then I went over to Christmas and drew Robin again. And each one of these portraits took about a day or two. And I found a load of pictures that were in sequence and then just decided that one needed to be upside down. And then there's Sid and Babs from Carry On. Again, another one that was done for a Christmas card, and so was Cousin Eddie. And then, because everyone was wearing masks, why not draw a superhero? Well, they're wearing masks. So it's also a Christmas movie. And then Groundhog Day. Always take a break after Christmas. Usually because I've got no daylight. And it's only just starting to pick up. Now, V is one of my favourite TV series of all time. So I drew that, and then with Sharon Tate, again it's honouring a memory. When I wrote this, I just had quotes from her friends and quotes from her, and I bought a photo book on Sharon Tate written by her sister, and I've got to draw. Also, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, I don't think a portrayal was done properly, and I thought I'm going to draw her and honour her memory. That's what most of these are. I'll honour the memory. Same with Grace Kelly. She had a tragic end, and I needed to show that. Rita Hayworth, Margarita her name was, and she had her hairline singed and altered to turn away from her Hispanic roots, Mexican roots. And I remember being at a bus stop and someone my mum was talking to, I came in and said, oh, you've got to show her about the drawings. And then I said I was drawing Rita Hayworth, and she says, who's Rita Hayworth? I've also had somebody ask me who Marilyn Monroe was. Oh dear. You can see now why I'm not going to show my face on camera until I've got away. I'd met Malcolm McDowell, and I drew this for him to sign. And then I met Nick Frost at the same show, and I had a photograph which I don't think I've ever shown on social media, where he was pretty much strangling me, and Nick, I want my breath back. He gripped my neck and I look like I'm choking, which actually I am. I drew the Public Enemies, which is a brilliant movie. This is the one where there's the grapefruit scene. And I did that because Malcolm McDowell was a fan of Jimmy Cagney. And then Clara Bow again. But I will say now, as I've said before, there is absolutely no way that I would reveal what anyone says to me, under pain of listening to Jedward for the rest of my life. So this is Perils of Pauline. And you may not know this, it was a silent series. People always think that there was a woman tied to a train track. This is wrong. But it sort of comes from here. That whole thing about the moustached guy who's tying a woman to the train track, completely false. It was in a film version of it, but it's completely false. Now, I researched these actors, and yeah, it's written, but I've forgotten their names, but I've researched these actors. This is where you get cliffhanger serials, and I've seen some episodes. Some of them are lost to time because of nitrate stock and destruction. Then I drew He-Man and Skeletor, and it goes all the way down. And yeah, about the new He-Man movie. If it is Barbie He-Man, I don't think I'm going to bother, but I'm not sure. I'd like it to exist in the world that it existed in. I drew Mork and Mindy again for his birthday. And then John Candy. And then we get to Landshark. And Rodney Dangerfield. As I said, I will show you the Jeweler's Loop videos in the next one. I did Alien. And this was like drawing a dead body because it was based on Ramesses III. This is the mummy, Boris Karloff, as Imhotep. And this makeup was done by Jack Pierce. I adore this film. I really adore The Mummy, to the point that I don't like the remake from the 90s with Brendan Fraser. I like the original. Dracula Brides. I researched who these were. One of them is Dorothy Tree. They're uncredited, and I gave them a voice by drawing this. It took about 22 days to draw. There's the cobweb. I mean, the size of the faces are this size. Then we get Old Dark House with Boris Karloff and Gloria Stewart, one of the greatest movies ever made. I like black and white movies. Then I drew Tarby and Brucey, and I actually sent this to Jimmy Tarbuck, but a Christmas card to him. Didn't get an answer back. It's one of those things. Again, I drew Sooty, and this is Harry H. Corbett. Another Christmas card. And the best thing about drawing Christmas cards is you can do snow scenes and call them Christmas. So I did this in January of Audrey Hepburn. And then I drew Tommy Cooper. Now I love Tommy Cooper. And when I drew Tommy Cooper, this took 23 days. And I put this onto Facebook and it died a death. No one talked, and I had to delete it and start again and still shout. And after 23 days, I think I got about 5 supporters. Why do you think I'm leaving Facebook? Buster Keaton from The Cameraman and Marion Davis. Just a silent movie star that you rarely hear of. Spike Milligan. Now this was hard because his eye is in full focus there and blurred there. So there's he was a genius. Excuse me, he was a genius. And talking of geniuses, we need George Carlin back. We need George Carlin back, we need Bill Hicks back, and I have drawn Bill Hicks. So now I'll get Joan Blondell in the bath. And Quint. What? And then Morgan Mindy. Well, say Miss Morgan Exidor. And Carol Landis. She had a very tragic end. She committed suicide, and I wrote about it, and all I got was awesome, brilliant, and I was talking about somebody who had died, which proves that they didn't read it. Now this one was supposed to be Anne Margaret. This is what's the problem with social media and looking for photos. This is labelled as Anne Margaret. It isn't. I have got Anne Margaret's autograph and I've got to draw her. The thing is, it's Melba Ogle, and I didn't know until I drew this. Way after I drew this. So I've got to draw Anne Margaret again. I love the photo. I love the reflection, but it was a wasted time because it wasn't who I wanted. This was Beware of People Who Purport to Be Friends. This is Son of Frankenstein with Boris Karloff and Bela Lugosi. This is the one with, he's a sly devil with a broken neck, and yeah, he's evil. You think that Frankenstein's monster is bad. No, he's the villain in this. And also I drew this. I love this scene. It was blocked for ages in the UK, which is where I'm from. It was banned, and it was only restored, I think, about the 90s, 1990s. I drew one of the greatest scenes from TV shows ever, with Morecambe and Wise and Andre Preview. I'm playing all the right notes, but not necessarily in the right order. And then I did another Christmas one with Les Dawson. And this is from, I think, a 1972 Christmas special. And then there's the lovely Kenny Everett and John Inman. And Kenny was born on Christmas Day. He was a genius. I absolutely love him. You know, I went to a convention and somebody said, "Oh, why are you drawing him?" I said, "What, Kenny Everett?" "No, him. Don't like him." I said, "Well, I've drawn him especially for this moment where a stranger tells me I shouldn't have drawn this picture. I stand by it." I drew it. That's for a cover of a book. This is where I get pencil marks from. I created a book to send to agents, but then there was a thing that happened in America that is still happening in America, and I thought, I'm not sending it to America. So I'm lumbered with a load of books and I don't know what to do with it. Olivia de Havilland, I will get the jeweler's loop on this. I own one of Olivia's books. And I'm not saying that I own a book that she wrote. I actually own one of her books. I bought it in a convention, in an auction to just to preserve a memory. Everything was being sold, and it was signed by Ruth Gordon, who was in Harold and Maude and Every Which Way But Loose with Clyde the Ape, and I love this woman, absolutely love her, and I love her in film. So this is from the series Rhoda, and I bought a photo to draw her because I couldn't find one. And then we get to Robot Monster, and it's a bad movie, yes, but it's more fun than some big budget bad movies that are supposed to be good. I get more fun watching Robot Monster than I do out of watching some big budget movie. And that's it for the moment. The last one that I did was Lemmy. There's a Reason. And the next book, it's half full, so I can play around. It's going to be shorter than this, so let me just show you. Where are you? Here we are. So over last summer, because of Ozzy, I spent ages drawing Ozzy, and I couldn't stop drawing Ozzy, and to be honest, I'd like to go back to drawing him right now. This is why I'm doing musicians, and also Lemmy, and another one of Ozzy, and then we'll end here. So that's it for now. Somehow I've got to put these on. I wish I could edit, but I don't know how to, and really as long as I can do this and have a camera that works, it will be fine. So I'm sorry I've waffled on for too long and taken up your time, but things have to be shown beyond what Facebook has become and what is happening on that world. It's not good for artists, and I've lost faith in it, as I have a lot of people who I knew, because they're not there. And in between the pictures, they're seriously not there. So I'm looking at other avenues, but where do you put work like this? Because you've got Facebook, you've got, well, forget about X, Instagram, forget about that, because it's basically Facebook on a phone, and forget about TikTok. Where do you put it? Where do you put this work? Because if you want a website, guess what? You've got to pay for it. So this is where I am at the moment, and the light is going, so see you on the next video. Bye.